So there's one question from Mohammed Shafiq in the chat, if you're able to read it, Michael. The first part's not entirely clear, but I think he's getting to the issue of the kind of bipolar world order between the kind of American and Chinese spheres of influence in the context of the Abrahamic Accords and then also this Iran-Israel conflict. So he's asked, is this not the new alignment for liberal global economic exploits?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure if the reference is to the Abraham Accords or not, but I actually think it's useful to make a comment about the Abraham Accords here because it ties into the focus of our discussion. Let me just say this. I think that we could all agree that so much of the region wanted the Iran-Israel conflict to be a brief one, including India. But I think that if you're to have a calming of tensions over an extended period in the Middle East, this I think makes it more likely that the Trump administration would try to revitalize the Abraham Accords. And you all know what the Abraham Accords were. This is something that came about during the first Trump administration that essentially the Trump administration brokered efforts toward peace between Israel and some of its Arab neighbors, leading to a formal normalization of relations in some cases. But I think that if the conditions allow and the situation becomes less tense in the Middle East, there's going to be another push from this administration for more Abraham Accords to take place, so to speak. And Pakistan, I think, could come under the microscope. That would only happen. I think Pakistan would only if Saudi Arabia signed on to them first. And I'm not an expert on Saudi Arabia. I can't speak definitively if that could happen or not. But if it does, I think then the Saudis would try to prevail on the Pakistanis to sign on to them. I mean, to me, as an analyst of Pakistan, someone that's watched Pakistan and its foreign policy for such a long time, I find it hard to believe that Pakistan would actually be willing to normalize relations with Israel. I mean, its official position is that it will never do that until until there's a Palestinian state. There have been indirect links, informal links between Pakistan and Israel over the years. There have been some engagements, including during the Musharraf era. You had a meeting of senior Pakistani and Israeli officials in Turkey. So there've been some sort of experimenting, sort of furtively to engage, but I just can't imagine that happening. But I do think that if conditions permit, and by that I mean there's enough relaxation of tensions that countries in the Middle East once again feel comfortable pushing for the Abraham Accords, the Trump administration will be very much behind that and will try to push for that. And Pakistan could it could be brought into that. It could be pushed to join. Bangladesh, I think, might be another. Anyway, so that's why I think that we definitely should keep the Abraham Accords in mind here in the broader scope of this resolution of this recent conflict. One other point I'll make here: India really benefited from the Abraham Accords. So India, of course, has had a good relationship with Israel. That's not an issue, but some of these new arrangements and groupings that India has signed on to, I2U2, IMEC, those entities themselves came about only because of the Abraham Accords. The fact that you could have the UAE working with Israel in I2U2, it's because of the Abraham Accords.